Hi, everybody. I wanted to take a couple of minutes to record a video showing you around the Johns Hopkins University's Coronavirus Resource Center webpage. This site was created by a student originally, and it was just some statistical information. And before you know it, it was the go-to source for the worldwide pandemic for coronavirus. It does have a lot of very accurate information. There are some little hiccups in my opinion here, and I may inject that as we go along. But this here is the landing page, coronavirus.jhu.edu. You see in the center here that there is a series of information with the grand totals for the globe. But more importantly, I want to talk about Michigan, as that's where I'm from, and within Michigan, just kind of give the information that people within the U.S. would be able to utilize. So the first thing we'll do is we'll click on the world map view. In the world map view, you'll see where it loads up. We'll see in the top left corner over here the total for the world of confirmed cases, and then you'll see, the countries listed in the column to the left of that. And then we'll have a map with a bunch of red dots on it. If we look at the bottom of that map, you'll see there's active cases, incident rate, case fatality ratio, testing rate, and hospitalization rate. And it's broke down by country and states. As you can see over on the right-hand column over here, we can see global deaths, and then the United States deaths and recovery rate. Of course, that is if they are reporting those. Then in the bottom right-hand corner, we'll see what is the total case count, confirmed case count. Of course, that's because we are on the cumulative confirmed cases. If I hit active cases or incident rate, some of the information changes this graph on the far right. There's tabs across the bottom there. This is the logarithm, and then the daily case count. As we can see here, the daily new cases, if I hover over that, it says it's 93,000 worldwide. For our purposes here, I want to be able to talk about the United States, and again, like I said, more particularly the state of Michigan. So interestingly enough, I can't pull this same total information here when I click on the US map, at least not in the way that it does show on this page. So this is the reason for showing this. So if I click on US, you'll see that the graph in the bottom right corner has changed. This is probably a little more of the information that would be necessary, but interestingly enough, you'll see these peaks and valleys. Some of these peaks and valleys are because some reporting doesn't happen on the weekends, and then other times it's because certain facilities only report once a week and they report on the same day. But as well, there is probably an incidence, and I'm not a virologist, so I don't know for sure, but some incidents of where the initial spike started and how it recurs every 7 days approximately. So after clicking on the left-hand side over here, US, there's a tab down in the bottom that says Admin 1. Why it only says Admin 1, I'm not sure, but it is actually the total count by state. And if you click on the state of Michigan, you'll see that we now have the graph on the bottom right has changed, indicating the per day new cases per day here. And you can see the most recent number was 641. But the box right above that, we can see that it says U.S. deaths and recovered. This is the state of Michigan's 4,399 deaths, 15,659 recovered. If we click the arrow to the right here, we'll see that we actually show that Michigan has tested 260,253 people so far. So I find that to be very interesting information. The box to the left of it there is still information of the total for the U.S. So we're showing approximately 200,000 people in the United States have recovered so far of the 1.2 million that have showed confirmed. So interesting information here. If I click on any of these tabs here and I zoom in on the United States here, I can go and grab and see the information here that we have 46,000 confirmed, 4,399. So it gives me my total number from the active cases standpoint. If I was to hit incident rate or case fatality, for instance, if I hit this, then now it shows that my case fatality in Michigan is 9.48. In Illinois, it's 4.39. In Wisconsin, it's 4.0. So Interesting to see that data as we compare it from state to state. And then as well, if I click on hospitalization rate, you can see that some states do not report their hospitalization. But it is interesting to note just in that part of the reasons for shutdown and flattening the curve was due to the availability of hospital beds. So not reporting hospitalization rate is a little bit difficult to understand. So that pretty much gives you the information as far as what the overall totals are. Again, those aren't easily found if I was to click on just the US map. So we're going to go to the center here, click on the US Maps tab. In the US Maps tab, you'll see that I've got some county information on the left-hand side here. I have the US map in the center. Tabs across the bottom are confirmed deaths and fatality rate. And then over on the right-hand side, I have a graph as well, which again, I'm not sure why we have this graph other than to show that it's going to slow a bit, meaning we want to see this curve, this not be such a steep incline. Maybe we want it to flatten out a bit. Not really sure what the graph is really indicating, again, against the confirmed. So, but let's talk more about Michigan here again and try to show you some of the information that you can pull from this map here. Right now, this tab is showing, and it is a little difficult to get it to work from a functionality standpoint. So we've got some colors on here, and these colors are, I'm assuming, to be able to help us to understand the critical nature of different counties. This is the colors for confirmed by population, which would be the number of cases. So if I was to click on, let's use Kent County, for instance, 326,000 confirmed, or 326 per 100,000 in the population. It's a good ratio to understand population density and why one county would have a higher death rate over another county. If I was to go up here, let's say to Antrim County, we'll reference Antrim County a little bit later, but they have 42 per 100,000 in their population. So interesting statistic there. Fatality rate, again, if we were to zoom in and show fatality rate. Now it's interesting here that we have this darker color that's showing in that same area. So if I was to look at Antrim County, we have 10 confirmed cases, 0 deaths. But if I go to the next county over, there's 17 in Kalkaska County with 2 deaths, showing a case fatality of 11.76. It's a very rural county in Michigan. So if we were to do the same thing by coming down to a county that's a little closer to our hotspot in Michigan, we have 7,664, 805 deaths with a lower case fatality of 10.5. So again, some of the information on here, it's useful to understand, but in the bigger scope of things, color coding and whatnot doesn't do justice to 0 deaths with 10 cases or 2 deaths with 17 cases as opposed to 7,000 cases and 800 deaths. But if we go back to confirmed by population, just so that we have a reference, I want to click on Antrim County again, and I want to show you this infographic, which is very helpful information here. In this infographic, you'll see there's lots of information. Over here, we have health insurance information. We have population as far as the ethnicity of the population. And then we have some total information over here for the state of Michigan, which interestingly enough, it says our total confirmed is 0 on this particular one. If I was to go back here, let's grab a different county. Let's say we grab Kent County and pull up the infographic for Kent County. We'll see here that now has the totals for Michigan in here for the state of Michigan. And then as well, when we look at the bottom down here, we can see that Kent County has 2,018 staffed beds. We have 1,796 licensed beds. We have ICU beds of 157. We have interesting information for poverty percentage. Not sure how that plays into the factors here as far as statistics are concerned, other than it made the news. But it does have a fatality rate of 1.92% with a total confirmed cases compared to deaths. So this is Kent County. Now, one of the interesting things about this is if you were to choose different counties throughout the state of Michigan, you might see some of this information helps you to understand why For instance, people were upset about going north to be at your vacation property up north. Well, the challenge there is that if I was to say that this county only has 23,000 in population, it's a rather rural county in Michigan, and it's definitely not a tourist location for sure. But if we were to see that they have zero hospitalization capabilities, that means these 23,000 people would need to go to neighboring counties in order to be able to be hospitalized. So if we were to look at that, we would see Charlevoix County here, that same infographic. It does show that they have a population of 26,000, but there are only 25 staff beds, 25 licensed beds, and 4 ICU beds in that county. So if we were to put the two counties together, obviously don't want it to sound like I'm trying to be too dramatic on this, so I would look to the next county, Grand Traverse, one of the more populated, definitely a tourist destination. And we would see there that they have a population of 92,000. But then their bed count, they only have 20 ICU beds, 425 licensed beds, and 409 staff beds. The statistics really do tell us a good percentage of information about what we can expect there. And if we have a county of 25,000 that doesn't have any hospital beds, those will have to spread to other areas. And if we were to move the population north in order to be able to go to your vacation hotspots, then it would inundate the beds within the northern counties for sure. So obviously this is just some of my opinion. I'm not doing this for any other reason but to give some people the ability to get their own statistical information and compile it for themselves. The final thing that I would like to take a look at is if we were to look at critical trends, the top right tab there. This has got some more tracking data and information, and there's a lot of information here, but I'll just click on one of these, and that's the case mortality, how it compares, our country compares to other countries. The first graph we show here is the percentage, and you can see the United States is at 23.59%. But if we click the tab above that, we can see deaths per 100,000 of population. The percentage, is 6% fatality. And then if we were to click over on the deaths per 100,000, then it shows there's 23.59. These statistics are over a vast array of testing. And so they are getting more and more accurate compared to what they might have been, say, a month ago. So, well, there's a quick overview. Hopefully this helps some of you find some of the information you're looking for and gives you the ability to be able to answer some of your own questions. Thanks for listening.